here. Forget this game. We got better ones. Alright, let's take a look at what Roscoe had there. Called with a 7. It's pretty poor play, and that's why you want to find these guys with 100 VPIP. He opened limps with ace-7 offsuit, calls a raise. Whatever. He had position, so that's one thing going for him. No aggression, no selection, but at least he had position to start. Then on the king 8-9 board, where he has nothing but a backdoor flush draw and a backdoor straight draw, he peels a bet. He had the best hand. I just noticed that. It's a start. Good to have the best hand. I'm going to check eval here. Probably call a bet from Garbo. Damn, I don't beat king queen anymore. I might, woulda, coulda, shoulda bet king queen. I'm going to play this hand for one bet. Limp min re-raise. Straight. Well, I don't really expect them to bluff at it, so I'm going to bet small. And we got a hand that plays fine multi-way, so facing the limp min re-raise, we're going to call with the ace-jack suited, table 3. If he fires out hard here, though, we're not going to put any more money in this pot. Wow, he called with worse. Must be king-queen. River to set. Unlucky, bro. Unlucky. What's going on, Roscoe? I didn't bet the flop on table 3 because Roscoe's prone to do some weird random shit. And wanted to wait and see what he's all about. Yep, there it is. Check raise. What does it mean? I don't know. But yeah, and he called with nothing. Then on the turn, he turned the nut flush draw, so it's understandable that he would call again. But on the river, when all he made was bottom pair, I don't really know what he thinks he's beaten. Anyway, interesting spot over here. Baz called from the small blind and then called my raise. I think I'm going to try to take the hand to showdown. I don't expect him to fold any pocket pairs if I bet this flop, and those are the hands that I'm ahead of. Or no, those are the hands that are beating me that I would be hoping to get to fold with a bet. But I do think my ace-queen high is pretty strong, and I'm going to win at the showdown very often, so I'm just going to minimize the variance, keep the pot as small as possible, and just take my hand to showdown. And I'm noticing that guy on table 4 is raising our small blind a bunch. Okay. Decision time. If he has 2 cards above a 10, I win. If he has like a 7-8 or a 7-6, I lose. Should be betting those hands on the turn. And what's his river? His river aggression's pretty high. I think he's more likely to overlimp and then call a raise with Broadway type hand than a low suited, low light connected hand. So I'm going to go for the hero. Didn't see that one coming. Wow, strong hand. Well, I pretty much lost the same amount I would have had I c-bet. And I guaranteed that I got to make it to showdown, so I'm alright. Wow. That's a good flop. Especially against our boy Roscoe Harvey. Here on table 1, my ace high is not as strong as my ace high was on that outer table. So for that reason, I am going to bet this flop. If I can get him to fold a hand like ace 9, ace 8, that's good. Whereas when I held ace queen, there's no need to try to get him to fold those hands because I have them beat. Now I turn a pair and I turn a flush, turn a nut. Yo, dude, hit him with a nut. Shit. And we know that Roscoe calls down pretty light, so we're just going to bet for value. Strenzel. I'm looking at hands that I beat on table 1. The only one I can think of is 8-9. And also when our friend bets the full pot, I'd assume he's got something reasonably strong, so we will just release that hand. All right, Roscoe. Oh, man. Calls pretty light. Last time we bet less than half the pot and got called pretty light. So we're going to bet similar. We're going to go a little closer to half pot. Still expect us to get looked up pretty light here. And 10s against Nitro, I'm happy to take all in for about 30 big blinds. So we're 3-betting with the intention of calling off. He called us with the queen. Good thing we didn't bet too big on the river, though. You know, if we tried to go for stacks there and go like 3/4 pot, flop, pot, turn, overbet river, you can't call with a queen. I mean, maybe if he's really, really terrible, or not terrible, if he's really curious, if he's really, really curious, he might call us down there with mid-pair for a very large amount. But I think it's better to err on the side of caution and on the side of, you know, just going with what's most likely to get paid off. As we continue to play more and more with Roscoe, we could experiment with things. We could try betting bigger and seeing if he still calls. If it turns out he's one of those guys who just won't fold a pair for any amount, we're going to adjust our strategy and start just like bombing it. We're just going to go pot, pot, pot and try to extract max. But in the case where we can almost certainly get paid off on like a half pot bet by an extremely wide range, I think it's better to... Ooh, unlucky, bro. Shouldn't have slow played. San Picos is fairly passive, and this isn't a great board for check raising on. So I'm going to c-bet. I could be betting with the best hand, or if he has a better hand, I'm semi-bluffing with a 5-outer, which I just hit. Oh, wow, Nitro called a 3-bet with 8-9 suited on that stack size. Crazy. All right, we're hoping that San Picos has a queen and won't fold. And we're just going to go bet, bet, bet. Try to get it all. If he has some sort of ace-high float or something. Let's think about it. Could we extract more value if we wait till the river for him to bet? Well, his river aggression isn't that high, so somewhat unlikely. So, no. All right, raise. And Heisenberg. He's playing pretty loose, but whatevs. Whatevs, NBDs. Don't need to get in there all the time. Here I have no shot at winning this pot by checking. Although I do have some backdoor draws. But this is like a terrible hand. But I think his defending rate, nah, he's pretty wide. Not bad. Table 1. Table 2. Now I picked up a draw. And I'm now ahead of ace queen and ace jack, which is some part of his range. He's not folding a king if I bet. I don't know if he would fold a 10 to a bet or a 7. He probably would. Whether or not he has those on the flop, I'm not sure. But I caught up to the hands which I think make up a big chunk of his range, which is ace, queen, ace, jack, and they just fucking caught right back up. I guess that's kind of how it should go, though. My 5 high is not really supposed to beat ace high with a nut shot here. It'd be kind of unfair if it did. Oh, well. No one bet flop here, huh? Alright, well, picked up a gut shot on table 4, and I may have the best hand, so I'm going to bet. Also, if I get called by a 7 or a 10, there are a decent amount of rivers I can bet. I think it's more likely a 7 that's going to call me, as a 10 probably should have bet on the flop. Therefore, well, no, that's not one of the rivers that I can move anyone off of frickin' 7, so check. Check and hope he checks back 8-9. Doubt he would ever do that. Even the backdoor flush draw got there. Everything got there. All his most likely holdings improved on the river. So, check and fold is the clear play. Roscoe. Playing pots. think I like to defend the 9-10 suited against Casino Kid. See what transpires. Flopped a gut shot. Pretty wet board on table 1. Not going to bet into 2 players there. I'm just going to check and fold. We will bet for value against Roscoe on table 3. Casino Kid C-bets, which he's going to do all the time on this board. So that probably means he's folding a lot of his hands to a check raise. So let's try it out. Now he may peel this check raise with a hand like 8s, 9s, or 10s, but 9s and 10s are pretty unlikely since I have a 9 and a 10 in my hand. So it's really just 8s. And those hands most likely, almost certainly fold to another bet on the turn. So check raise there is good. And depending on how loosely he's going to peel the check raise determines whether or not we should bet the turn again. If he's only going to be calling the check raise with hands that are trips or better, we should probably be just giving up on the turn unless we improve to a straight. If, however, he may think that we're a little full of shit and, wants to call us with a bunch of pocket pairs because he thinks it's hard for us to have a jack, well then, we're going to fire again on the turn to get him off all those hands, all those non-jack hands. I think I play better when it's only 4 tables. What do you guys think? It's a lot easier to think through the hands and take time for the decisions. For any of you guys who are trying to play a lot of tables, maybe that's worth thinking about too. Do you actually get to use your full mental capacities on each hand, or are you just kind of going through the motions, clicking the buttons, and not really paying attention to what's going on? Because obviously the more attention you're paying, the better you're going to be playing. But, as always, even though I'm only 4 tabling, I'm still going to be watching the other games so that if a really juicy seat frees up, I can get in there. I'll be maximizing the value. Alright, Roscoe's in the big. So, go ahead and raise the 6-5 suited. Also, the rest of the table's pretty tight. We're not going to be running into defense too often. February is a fairly tight opener, and the big blind is a fish, so I'm going to call and just hope that Zampicos calls too. And we totally whiffed this flop on table 3, but maybe Roscoe missed too. Maybe he defended with like Queen 10. He can't call that late. We know that he doesn't like to fold any pair, but you probably won't peel our flop bet with Queen high or something, or King high. We got the button on table 1, so we're going to take a flop and take advantage of our position. God damn! Fucking squeezerson. Yeah, you got it, man. Identified a good spot to take a shot. There are some flush draws that I could get Roscoe to fold, maybe. Like if he has the 9 high flush draw or jack high flush draw, but he's shown that he's really stationy so far, so I don't really want to try to bluff him. So just check back, and he did call with King high. Stationy motherfucker. This guy opens a lot. 3-bet for value or call for deception. Suited hand is going to play alright post flop. Also plays good for a 3-bet. I think I'll call. Big blind's pretty nitty. Not that likely to get squeezed. Cool. Heads up pot, mid pair, top kicker, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. A lot of good stuff going on. We're not folding. What are the odds the guy really has a king? Call. 2 pair. Good card for him to barrel on. Well, yeah. 'Cause if we have a king, we have to be a little worried. Though if we have a king, we probably have a gut shot with it too. Queen 10 did get there, but yeah, I don't see myself folding 2 pairs. So, Magwan card here. Check. Lose to Queen 10, Ace King, and sets. I don't think he'd value bet that big with a single ace, but could, and he can just have a bunch of bluffs. It's a great run out for him to be bluffing on, so call and win. Interesting spot, transpiring. God, Roscoe's so freaking bad. I wish I had position. So this hand, where I don't think I'm folding. Yeah, no, definitely not folding. So I'll just try to get looked up light. Bet a third of the pot. Vasquez limped, Baz min raised, and I 3-bet small to isolate him. He called. Just check back the flop. Figured decent showdown value and decent board for him to play back me on, so didn't want to get check raised or anything. When I got 2 nice over cards, backdoor not flush draw, so I checked back. He bet the turn, I called, and on the river he checked, letting me know my hand was good. So I went for the small V bet, and he paid it off with 3rd pair. My initial plan was to bet about half pot, maybe a little bigger. I think if I'd done that, he probably would have folded. So, good selection on sizing there by me. And table 2's looking like it's getting a little nitty. So, we'll bring in that fish fest that you guys just saw. What the fuck, Nitro? What's going on here? You limp called, right? You don't have shit. You don't have shit. Yeah, I know you don't have anything. Go ahead. Bluff the river. I'll pretend like I got nothing too. Go ahead. I dare you. Nothing? Alright. We have no showdown value against Roscoe, and he did check it all the way down. I think if he has a hand worse than ace high, we can get him to fold, given that he's limping with 70% of hands. There's going to be some hands there that aren't good. But he showed up with the ace high part of his range. Takes it down. It's alright. Just betting 2 to win 4 if he's folding a third of the time. Is he folding a third of the time? I don't know. What'd Nitro call us with there? Whoa! Why wouldn't he keep betting the turn? Man, trip kings. It's a big hand. Paft has a pretty high 3-bet. We have a blocker. And we're playing reasonably. Oh shit, those are our stats. And that's what I was talking about, where not having the name on top of the stats can definitely get us into trouble. Here I am thinking Paft has a 3-bet of 11%. He just sat down and he's got a green dot. He's a nit. Yeah. Well, As bad as it makes me look to make that mistake, I'm glad that, after talking about it, I'm going to fire off some shells here against February. Glad after talking about the importance of paying attention to game dynamics, not just relying on your HUD, I made the exact mistake I was talking about. So that, show you guys how the HUD can kill you. If you think, yeah, 4. Snap, call, bro. Fold your 9s. I can have aces and kings. You can't. Situation on table 3 is one where his range is capped, meaning there is a limit to the strongest hand that he can have. And my range is uncapped. I can have anything, at least relatively. The only hands that make boats are deuces and trays. Don't know if he's calling those pre-flop. Probably is, not for sure. But I'm way more likely to have a really big pocket pair, and he's more likely to have a medium pocket pair, especially when he's snap calling. Showing, that tell of a marginal strength hand. Man, I'm such a donk. I'm such a donk. Thinking my own stats are his stats. Yeah, so it's kind of hard for him to call me down there when I fire 3 streets. 2 overcards, 2 fishy players. Bet. Also, my range is pretty strong here on table 2. Not that they're thinking about that. They're just fish. They're just looking at their hand. I'm banking on them having missed, and they did. But even if they did make a pair, or somehow had like a slow played overpair, I'm still going to suck out and win that pot 24% of the time. And when I do suck out, I'm going to be able to extract some value. 5-3 suited is a hand that I think is too weak to defend. Low cards, low equity. Yeah, it's a suited gapper, which can play well multi-way, but we're out of position. And the lower your cards are, the harder it is to make like good straight draws and stuff. Wow, this table has 51% VPIP. This one has 43. Let's guess who the fish is. Let's play guess who the fish is. It's probably the guy who has no money. But we will be taking that seat as soon as he gets up. Got it. I'd imagine that Angus 68 is also fish. This guy really is opening a lot of pots on table 4, so given that we're deep stacked and we have position, I'm going to try a little, and he's opening wide, I'm going to try a little 3-bet and see how he reacts to it. Worst case, I lose $4. Second, medium case, he folds and we pick up 225. Best case, he calls and we get to play a re-raised pot in position, deep stacked, and win a bigger pot on a later street, assuming he doesn't make the nuts. Right. Yeah, worst case, we lose $4. But now we know that he's capable of 4-betting, which is a good thing to know. And, more importantly, he knows that we're capable of 3-betting light. So we're a little bit more likely to get action when we have a good hand. Because it won't be the first time that we 3-bet. Ace-9 suited here, we can make the nuts a few different ways, and we're playing multi-way closing the action. Let's see that flop! Top pyramid kicker. Can check and see what happened. Is the net gonna c-bet into 4 people? Yes. I am going to fold. Wow! And the other fucking nit min raises. What do you think this guy has, guys? Garbo. Do you think he has a set or better? Do you think he would do this with a hand like Ace-King that he slow played pre-flop? Because he doesn't want to call and see it go multi-way? If he has Ace-King, do you think he calls off to a shove? And Vasquez, fuck you doing, bro? Donk bet. I'm going to do what I was talking about Garbo doing. I'm going to raise to give this pot the best chance of not going multi-way to the turn.